fiai o te sa ili mea e manuiai e te ulu ola fai manu tu mau Samoa ia mo o mea inu e mamau Tama Samoa sauni mai vinga ia fai le fa afetai I lo tato peinu lo tato nu ia talo sia lo tato nu ia manu ia
Alofa, greetings and welcome to another edition of our podcast, Discovering Tagaloa, coming to you from the motherland of Samoa. It's a podcast of Tagaloa tradition teachings about the spirituality behind our culture to help decolonize our mind and restore our pride in being Samoan, especially those in the diaspora, struggling with a dual identity, trying to remain loyal to the motherland and doing the right thing by their country of birth. Our Tagaloa tradition teaching this week is on the topic of mind the between, TAUSI Le Va. But first, who is Tagaloa? Good question. Tagaloa is the creator spirit that your ancestors believed in, that was replaced by Jehovah, the colonizing missionaries brought to us. Tagaloa translated into English means boundless force. You can neither touch nor see this boundless force called Tagaloa, but you can feel it. It's an energy, a vibration that can move and influence the way you think and the way you do things. It's a divine presence that you experience. So this week, we'll experience Tagaloa through the dissemination of the between, le va, unlocking the meaning, the theology, the spirituality behind the sacred space we call le va. In doing so, it brings us closer to discovering Tagaloa. So welcome to more of our Tagaloa tradition teachings to help you in your voyage of discovering Tagaloa, because when you discover Tagaloa, that's when you discover who you are. So buckle up and welcome on board. Le va. Le va. What is le va? Le va, according to some, is a gap with nothing in it. And according to some, le va is a space with nothingness. But according to Tagaloa tradition, le va is a sacred space where you find the breath of the gods. Let me say that again. According to Tagaloa tradition teachings, le va is the sacred space where you find the breath of the gods. Now here we see again the unique Samoan brand of ancient spiritual wisdom. Because as a Christian and as a Whaiwhiao of the Ecclesia, I would have said, it would have been enough to say, le va is the space where you find God. But our ancestors went and took it a notch further. And they said, le va is a sacred space where you find the breath of the gods. See, when you add breath, it means life. Breath is life. And that's the spiritual wisdom that our ancestors bring into the equation. Because when somebody is dying, for example, on the beach, when a swimmer is out there and he's drowning, then the lifesaver will get on his surfboard and he'll swim out there and bring that body and lay it out on the beach. Then he would crouch down on his knees to give that person the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. So life can be rendered to this otherwise dying person. And that is the picture that our ancestors want us to have of this space and of the boundless force in this space. You see, it's the breath of the gods. So it's giving the picture of the boundless force, lowering thyself unto the level where the almost dead is, rendering life with it, the breath of life. That is the first part of this ancient spiritual wisdom that I want to bring across. Secondly, is the word itself. See, le va, va. If you look at the word, it's composed with two letters only. And the two letters is, one is the letter that begins the alphabet, and the other one is the letter that ends the alphabet. So you know, as a learned Samoan, that in between the beginning and the end, these two letters, is the whole alphabet that makes up the Samoan language. And you know our language is the backbone of our culture. So in between these two words sums up your identity and our spirituality in between these two words, these two letters, A and V. Yet, now before I go into that, let me digress for a bit. See, when the colonizing missionaries brought their God, Yahweh, to Samoa, Yahweh is spelled YWHW. It is spelled like that. That's how we were taught in Malua. It is spelled like that because you cannot pronounce it. And it's deliberately written in that form so that you and everybody else cannot pronounce it. Why? So we can all be in awe of God, even pronouncing its name. No human can. So see, the drive here is to be in awe, to worship, to praise this God. Not our Tagaloa, no. See, the name alone is about being relevant to its subjects, the sons and daughters of Moana. It's not about being in awe of it. It's not about worshiping and praising it. And that's why, now let's come back to the word va. Instead of, because if the word a was the word and the v was how it's supposed to be, you can't pronounce it, then we'll be in awe of Tagaloa. But that's not the aim of the exercise, and that's not the aim of the spirit God of Samoa, according to our ancestors. It's about being relevant to where the sons and daughters of Tagaloa are. So now what do? Our ancestors bring the last letter V and put it at the beginning of the word, and bring the first letter and put it at the end, so we get the va. But you see, with these two letters, it pinpoints two very, very, how shall I put it, very important dimension of life. Because the V is a funnel, according to Tagaloa tradition teachings. It's an image of a funnel. The A is the image of the pyramid. Society as it is today is in the form of a pyramid, where less than 10% is at the top, and that less than 10% control the wealth, the health, and the social justice of the community, the whole world. All the wars that are going on now, Russia and what's the other country's name? Israel and the Palestinians. All those wars, they are controlled by this less than 10%. They provide the ammunition. They make up the stories. They own the media. All the stories that are being fed us are stories that they want us to believe and understand. It's that less than 10% that's at the top. And so when the blessings and when the resources come through, by the time it gets to the end, down to the bottom of the pyramid, there's hardly anything left. And at the bottom of the pyramid is where the masses are, is where the 90+% of the population is at. That is why there will be forever poverty. There will be forever beggars on the street. There will be forever. It's because of the structure of the pyramid. It's all sucked out at the top, less than 10%. And there's hardly anything that makes it to the bottom of the pyramid. So what our ancestors are saying, with Le Va, you turn the pyramid upside down and make it into the funnel. And at the top is where the masses will be. At the top is where the 90+% of the population will be. Worldwide, I'm talking about, and Samoa as well. And then it drip feeds down to the bottom. And you'll think that at the bottom, there'll be nothing left. Okay, let me digress again and tell you a story. When I was in Malua, I think it was my second year, and we went to our village in Nufuali, went out and did a program. And when we came back, this was on Sunday, when we came back with a whole lot of fa'alohalongas, envelopes with money, pusa'apa, iakonga, and so forth. And there was just the whaiwheau and myself, o Malua, and there were the Officer Swangi, and then there were the deacons. A few of the deacons were there. And so one of the deacons, he's the Kulafale, went and distributed all this saumoria, fa'alohalonga. And everything was distributed to everybody, leaving him with nothing. And so I'm looking at it, I'm new to this, looking at this, and it didn't sit right with me. So I went and got my nephews to, get a pusa'apa or something to it. And he says, no. I says, okay, why not? And he says, because woingoa mea ia, meaning that these things have been labeled in tradition. And once it's given, that's it. You can't go back and re-give or rearrange this thing. So you see, why I'm telling you that story is because when you turn the pyramid upside down into the funnel, up the top here will be the 90+% of the population. And the 90+%, that's how they distribute. They distribute until nothing is left for them. That is the Samoan way. That is the Samoan culture. That is the Samoan way of life. And that is the culture that was dawned upon. Nafa ata mai e Tagaloa o tātou tua'a. It's not being made clever. No, it's being made wise. Ata mai. It's a dawning upon our ancestors. It's a vision. Na mawai le moe sa ilinga tō whātoi in. He mau me whasoa leo. That's why our ancestors are saying, whichever generation is going to pick it up, this is how Samoa should be. Not a pyramid, but a funnel. So that 90+% of Samoans will be at the top. And I trust them because with our culture, that's how we apportion our wealth. That's how we divide our resources. The guy who's doing it will end up with almost nothing. But 90% of every little percent will go back with something and give him. He'll end up with more than what he gave out. But that's the spirit. And that's how you discover Tagaloa in our exercise today. Le va. Va is where you will find the breath of the boundless force. It's a force, and it's boundless of Tagaloa. In closing, I want to share with you something that very important. In our image and your image of God. See, we were taught and brought up. All the Christians were brought up. I was brought up. Even in Marua, we had that concept of who God is and what God is. God is a superhuman that lives in heaven. And trying to erase that from my mind, even today, I'm struggling with it because many a times I'm trying to change my language so it conforms to where I am today with Tagaloa being a boundless force, not a human form. And that's what I want you as well, as my family, believers in being Samoan and proud of being Samoan. Let's work on that. Get that image out of our minds of this superhuman form. It's not a human at all. Look at it as the wind that you can't see it, but you can hear it when it whistles through the leaves of the trees. And it can be a cool breeze that calms you down in the evening, or it can be a raucous storm when the hurricane hits. But always see, when after a storm, you see everything, everything is so organically green and luscious. There's a need for a reset in our minds and in our spirituality. So, yeah, please try and formulate that image in your mind. Tagaloa being a force, and change our language with it. I'm also struggling with that. I'm trying, so come with me on that journey. Change our language. Praying is when you get on your knees. No, we don't do that. We meditate. We speak directly to ourselves, more or less. And it's speaking to that force. And that brings us to the end of this series, which is called Mind the Between. TAUSI Le Va. If we see where we started, everything is about Le Va. And that brings us to the end of this series. So next week we'll start a new series. And with that, we wish you all, from me, all of you individually, my family of Whasinamanga Tagaloa. May you all have a peaceful, a wealthy, and a healthy 2024. And may all your dreams come to fruition. And may all those projects that's been evading you, come into being. And may the peace of the boundless force that we call Tagaloa be with you now and forevermore. From all of us here in Samoa to all of you in the diaspora. Till next week, tofa soifua. Ia o tō manoia.
You